The two best words in all of sports. Game 7 of the 2024 NCAA Softball Southeast Region 2 tournament is here. The Nighthawks, with a 7-3 win in Game 6 of the regional, force a decisive 7th game, their third against Francis Marion, to decide who will head to the Super Regionals here in the Southeast region. My name is Brendan Shabath. Alongside me is Robert DiClemente. We are ready here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium at Lynn Cottrell Park for what's going to be a huge game, Robert. Game 1, the Nighthawk bats finally came to life. They found a way to get past Alyssa Poston. We were wondering, maybe is Stacey Valley still going to start Poston in Game 2? The answer is no. The sophomore from Johns Island, South Carolina, Jenna Walling, will get the start here in the second game of the day against the Nighthawks. The two teams flip now after the coin toss. UNG is home, so Francis Marion will bat first against the senior Peach Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year, Tybee Denton.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal first game between these two squads. North Georgia coming out on top. Kristen Davis, specifically for North Georgia, was great. She won that pitching duel between her and Poston. Poston ended up getting pulled from that first game. Nighthawks got exactly what they wanted. Bats came alive, something that didn't happen in the first matchup between these two teams yesterday. Came away with that 7-3 win, and now North Georgia gets to put the PBC Pitcher of the Year, Tybee Denton, out here in a win-or-go-home situation.
So the winner of this game has a chance to host the Super Regionals, not just advance to it. Lenore Ryan and Wingate in their first game of the elimination series, in which Wingate needs to win, has gone into the 9th inning. Both of them tied at 2, so we'll keep you updated on that one as well here in Dahlonega. We're ready to go for Game 7, and Tybee Denton gets us started with a ball on the outside to Madeline White, the third baseman, here in the final game.
What a weekend of softball that we've had here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium. All comes down to this. Season's on the line here for these two squads.
White floats one to the left side. Wicker running, diving, catch in foul territory. Mariah Wicker gets this game started with a web gem.
How's that for a start for North Georgia? Mariah Wicker said this time and time again. About an hour ago in Game 1, she's made some incredible plays in the outfield for North Georgia, whether she's been in left or right field. Makes another one there, and a big out, big momentum boost to get this one going.
So the lineup changes a little bit for Stacey Valley as far as the order of hitters. Michaela Cuthbertson, who we talked about the storyline for her, was leadoff hitter last year, leadoff hitter at the start of this year, struggled. She's down in the 9-hole now. She's moved up back to the 2 spot today in the 7th game of this regional tournament, and she grounds a single right back up the middle. Michaela Cuthbertson cannot stop hitting in these regionals.
Yeah, she's picking up right where she left off in that last game against North Georgia. Was really the only batter that had her way against the Nighthawks, and like I said, inserted into second in the batting order, led off the lineup for quite some time, and she's going to be a big piece for this team if they want to come away with the win.
Cuthbertson 3 for 3 in the first game today. She went 1 for 2 in the game against North Georgia yesterday. She's got 5 hits against the Nighthawks. This is the first time the Patriots have faced Tybee Denton. They got Kristen Davis all day yesterday and in all 7 innings of our first game today. Denton with 2 strikes to Watford. Off speed upstairs. Watford way out in front of it.
Tybee Denton looking for a bit of a redemption story here. Didn't quite finish the job against Columbus State in the Peach Belt Conference Championship, and here in the Southeast Regional, win or go home. She's looking to end FMU's season today.
Outside edge, ball 1 misses. Denton threw yesterday against Flagler in that 5-inning shutout win. This one's up the middle, under Denton's legs. It's picked up by Ward at second. She tags Cuthbertson out right at the bag. A unique play, and Katie Ward composed to still tag the leadoff runner out.
That was the right play there by the Nighthawks, getting a leadoff runner out, keeping a runner on first, and putting another out up on the board.
And Mike Davenport has come out. It looks like Katie Ward maybe took some contact on that play, a little shaken up. And Tybee Denton as well. Davenport checks Ward while Riley Shimon, the athletic trainer, goes and looks at the right hand of Tybee Denton.
Yeah, Shimon and Davenport have been busy today. We saw Madison Simmons in game one had to leave the game for a couple moments to get a wrap on her hand, and hopefully Ward and Denton are all right.
So Watford reaches on the fielder's choice. It looks like Denton is going to stay in, and so is Katie Ward. So the starting 9 remains the same for the Nighthawks. Setting the defense, it's Wicker in left, as you already saw in the first out of the game. Mallory Parker's in center field. Madison Simmons is in right. Mixon and Brumby make up the corners of the infield at third and first, respectively. The middle infielders, the double play combination, is Riley Moody and Katie Ward, with Denton starting in the circle and Blair behind the dish. The lineup, as it starts, the exact same here in Game 7 for Mike Davenport as it was in Game 6.
And going with the same lineup here, third consecutive game that he's had this lineup. Looking a bit different from what we're used to, but it's worked these last 2 games.
Nasty swing and miss from Katie Smith on a tough pitch from Denton. One and one. Left side caught by Mixon on a pick. The line drive out right at the third base bag. The defense for North Georgia fired up in the top of the first. Now the bats will come to the plate here as we're underway in Game 7 of the 2024 Southeast Regional Tournament 2 here in Dahlonega.
We have a long tradition of athletics at the University of North Georgia. For the past 50 years, our athletic programs have been making a difference for our university. And today, I'm really excited to talk about how we will take that to the next level. When you think about elite athletics, you think about elite performance. Mary Rob, tell me what that means to you.
So elite performance at the University of North Georgia is unique because we have a value proposition unlike anybody else in this country, where we're able to perform at the highest level because of our connections with our Corps of Cadets and our College of Health Sciences and Professions, coupled with our professionals from coaches, athletic trainers, support staff in our Department of Athletics, where we're preparing our student athletes to battle on the field of competition, in the classroom, and in our community. We'll be elite in everything we do.
So today, we are really excited to announce our strategic bet, where we are going to deliver elite performance, elite competition, and the most value-adding Division II athletic program in America. Go Nighthawks.
Katie Ward will lead off the bottom of the first inning for the University of North Georgia against Jenna Walling, the sophomore pitcher from South Carolina, who has not pitched for Francis Marion since she started against their Conference Carolinas foe, Emmanuel, back on April 28th. So 13 days, almost 2 weeks removed from Walling's last outing. And we can report right now that Alyssa Poston, the main pitcher this year for the Patriots, is moving around in the bullpen as Ward grounds out to Cuthbertson at short.
Yeah, unless Walling's able to go a complete game, I would not be surprised to see another appearance from Poston at some point today. She's been the best player overall on this squad for the Patriots, and she had a uncharacteristic performance last time out.
This is very interesting. Poston right now is in the Francis Marion bullpen with a bat and a ball in front of her on a tee that she's hitting into a net. Poston has 9 at-bats this year and has a pair of hits for FMU for their pitcher who's got over 220 innings and has been their ace all year long, one of the best in the country. Strike one to Georgia Blair. Breaking news out of North Carolina. Wingate in the top of the 9th inning has taken a 4-2 lead over Lenore Rhine with 2 outs. So unless LR can spark a comeback in the bottom half of the inning, that Southeast Region 1 tournament is also going to go to a decisive 7th game. Inside, ball 3, only 1 strike on Georgia Blair.
And Wingate has had their work cut out for them today. Had to take down Lander in about half a game after that matchup was delayed yesterday due to some rain, and they've got to win 2 games against Lenore Rhine today.
High cheese from Walling gets Blair to swing and miss. It's a full count now. And Wingate woke up this morning trailing 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th against Lander. They find a way to come back and score 4 runs and beat the Bearcats. And now they're in front of Lenore Rhine. Blair pops it up right side directly to Taylor Watford, who catches it right along the line.
The Patriots, they only have 3 pitchers listed on their roster, Walling being one of them, but she's played in a big spot. Brennan mentioned she hasn't played since the 28th of April, but that was against Emmanuel in the Conference Carolinas championship game. The winner-take-all game, she got the start over Poston, pitched all 7 innings, and led to the 7-5 win for FMU.
As she allowed 5 runs in that start, only 1 of them earned, though. Struck out 3 batters and walked 2. And the defense, we mentioned 5 runs, only 1 earned. The defense was the trouble for Francis Marion in the first game of today. 4 errors, all of them coming between the 5th and 6th innings. And 2 errors in the 5th allowed 3 unearned runs to score in a game that North Georgia won by 4 runs.
Yeah, the fielding from the Patriots had been clean all weekend up to that point, and that was really one of the biggest deciding factors in that game. A lot of unearned runs that North Georgia was able to score in that game. A couple of those earned runs, though, coming from person up to bat right now, Mallory Parker.
She hit a solo bomb in the first inning, this exact spot with 2 outs to get things started for the Nighthawks. She takes ball 2 outside here. That home run for Mallory was her 8th of the season, puts her alone in 2nd place, only behind Georgia Blair on the Nighthawks this year. Then she had an inside the Parker in the 5th. 2-2, back foul again. Parker reached in 3 of her 4 at-bats in the first. She also got on by a hit by pitch along with her 2 home runs. Pulls the bat back, takes the 2-2 upstairs, a full count, back-to-back full counts for Jenna Walling. And this is what we saw the Nighthawks do that helped them get to Poston. They had a bunch of long at-bats early in the game. The first 4 at-bats for the Nighthawks in the first game today, 6+ pitches each of them. Here's the 3-2, popped in the air, left side. Cuthbertson ranging over deep into foul territory. She'll make the grab, stumbling away. And 3 up, 3 down. Go the Nighthawks in the first. We're scoreless after 1. A packed Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium awaits to see who's going to move on to the Super Regionals. Don't go anywhere. We've got more NCAA Tournament softball coming up on the Nighthawks Sports Network. Peyton Gale will lead off the second inning for Francis Marion with an opportunity to redeem herself. We talked about the defensive issues in that fifth inning for Francis Marion. Both of those fifth inning errors, well, they had three. One of them was a throwing error that gave Mallory Parker an extra base, but wouldn't have necessarily resulted in an out. But Peyton Gale had two errors that should have been outs in the fifth inning alone to bring home those three unearned runs. She's got a chance to redeem herself at the plate here in Game 7. She swings and misses at the first one from Denton.
Yeah, that fifth inning, the biggest for Francis Marion. Gale was responsible for a couple of those errors, but they had, three in that bottom of the fifth inning that they caused to allow North Georgia to get back into this game.
So Denton only pitched 4 innings against Flagler yesterday. She gave up 3 walks with no strikeouts, no runs on 4 hits as well. And it feels like Tybee Denton is due for a big day of strikeouts just with the way history has gone. She averaged almost 8 per 7 innings this season. She hasn't had more than 4 strikeouts in a game since the first of the 3-game series against Columbus State in the PBC tournament. To second, Ward is there as she gets behind it and throws Gale out at first.
It's been a handful of uncharacteristic performances from Tybee Denton as of late. We mentioned in the Peach Ball Conference Tournament Championship. She came in with 1 out. Nighthawks needed just 1 out in the top of the 7th inning to close out the Cougars and clinch their 10th straight Peach Ball Conference Tournament Championship. Denton couldn't close the job on that one.
Popped up on the first pitch by Michaela Goss. Over to Ward, so she's busy here in the second with a pair of putouts.
That last game for North Georgia where they were up 4 runs over the Patriots. Patriots had a chance to walk it off because they were technically the home team in that matchup. Nighthawks were able to seal the deal in that one. We're up 4 runs against Columbus State too late until the Cougars came back in the top of the 7th inning. So it was great to see the Nighthawks kind of shake off those nerves and come back here and close out the job against the Patriots to force this winner-go-home game.
Smallwood takes a ball upstairs, and the Nighthawks had a huge defensive play in the bottom of that 7th inning just about an hour ago as Mariah Wicker from right field threw out Michaela Cuthbertson at third base, a great tag by Gracie Mixon, to bring 2 outs in the inning and cut down the lead runner. Had Cuthbertson not gone for third on the base hit from Madeline White, they would have had first and second with 1 out and Emily Kahns at the plate. Sitting on deck behind Emily Kahns is their best home run hitter and Taylor Watford. As Smallwood swings and misses, there's a strikeout. Tybee Denton with her first K of the day. 1-2-3 go the Patriots in the second. Nighthawks now going to bat in the bottom of the second after they went 1-2-3 in the first. Scoreless so far here in Dahlonega on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
I pledge.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
Back here in Dahlonega, and we have an update from Wingate. The Bulldogs taking down Lenore Rhine in 9 innings, a 4-2 final there. LR out-hits Wingate 10-5. Very similar story to the first game between Francis Marion and North Georgia yesterday. Nighthawks out-hit the Patriots 10-4 in that one and lost 2-1. LR in this one out-hits Wingate 10-5. They lose 4-2, though. So a decisive 7th game also taking place in North Carolina. And a reminder that LR being the 4th seed in the Southeast region, if they win that, then the winner of this game will host the Super Regionals.
Yeah, so much on the line here over these next couple of hours. Wingate refusing to go home, picking up a win. 2 wins today, and a game and a half. Like you said, they were down against Lander to begin the day, and they got one more game to prove that they deserve a spot in that Super Regional.
Mary Seal Brumby leading off the 2nd inning for UNG. She's ahead 3-0. Our home plate umpire in this final game, Steve Winter. Michael Lett is over at first base. Kirk Cladwater on the other corner at 3rd. Brumby taking all the way on 3-0, and it's a strike.
Quick shout out to our umps who have been here all weekend, putting in work in all these regional softball games.
Dwayne Shoemate, the 4th umpire that we didn't mention, who's not working this game, but it's been a crew of 4 that has rotated in and out for every single game. And Walling walks Brumby to lead off the 2nd inning. Jenna Walling this year, a total of 45 walks, 88 strikeouts. Decent numbers, but they would like a larger gap in that area.
She has the 2nd most experience on this squad, too, at 121 innings, of course. Posting first, over 220 innings pitched this season, but she's got a lot of experience under her belt. A young player as well, Jenna Walling, only a sophomore.
Right side off the bat of Simmons. It's picked up at 2nd by Gale. No chance to get Brumby on the other side. So Simmons moves the runner up into scoring position on the 4-3 ground out. So for context, Alyssa Poston, 28 starts this season. This start today for Jenna Walling, her 16th of the year. So it's been Poston, and more Poston all season for Frances Marion, with the other 2 pitchers, Walling and Williams, mixed in and out. Abby Williams, it doesn't seem like it because she came in that 5th inning and 3 more runs came across. She didn't allow a hit in her relief appearance in the first game of the day, but she came in and 2 of those 3 errors in the 5th inning happened after she took the circle. So the Nighthawks got 3 runs across, but all unearned against Williams.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been shocked if Williams had gotten the start here in this game, kind of carrying that momentum over from the first matchup. Ended up going with Walling. I think this is a good choice, though, for FMU. She's been in a lot of big spots here for the Patriots.
3 balls and no strikes on Tegan Laval Masonette, the DP again in Game 7, the redshirt freshman. Tegan in the first game reached on a walk in 4 plate appearances. She's in a good spot to do that again here. Not before Walling gets a strike.
And Laval Masonette's been thrown into a big spot here by Coach Davenport these last handful of games. Win or go home situations. Masonette has started all of those for North Georgia.
Upstairs and away in the strike zone. Fills the count at 3-2. Walling right back in it. Center field, slicing to right center. That one's down all the way to the warning track. Brumby's going to score easily. Tegan Laval Masonette puts the Nighthawks on the board first. In the 2nd, an RBI double with 1 out.
And some early Tegan time here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Nighthawks needed that early run here. Similar to what we saw in that first game, Nighthawks have the advantage.
That'll bring up the shortstop Riley Moody to the plate. RBI number 20 of the year for Laval Masonette. Riley Moody, a huge postseason factor for the Nighthawks. single and a walk in 4 appearances in the first game today. The 1-0 is chopped to third. Laval Masonette will move up 60 feet. Moody is out over at first base. A good play by Madeline White. So there's a runner 60 feet from home for Gracie Mixon now. 2 outs in the inning.
And Gracie Mixon has been special these last couple of days. Had a big game yesterday against Flagler, and she's been a perfect example of a senior with the season on the line, stepping up big here, trying to secure a spot in the Super Regional yet again for North Georgia.
First pitch to Mixon, inside part of the plate for a strike. A nice job by the righty Walling. Mixon crowds that plate, so some of those inside pitches look like they're about to hit her, or some of them even come close, but they are still in the strike zone. She's up in that batter's box, too, trying to be ahead of anything off speed. And there it is, right on cue. Gracie Mixon gets plunked on the elbow. Jenna Walling pleading her case as well that that pitch was close and that maybe Mixon didn't move out of the way.
Definitely got a piece of something.
The corner is occupied. It definitely did hit her for sure. Now that'll bring up Mariah Wicker. And Lauren Smallwood having a conversation with Steve Winter about Mixon maybe not getting out of the way. First and third for the senior.
It's big, though, putting runners on the corners for Mariah Wicker, who has started to return to her typical dominant fashion. See if she can put the Nighthawks up even more here in this inning.
Mixon will take second on defensive indifference, so the force play is gone as they're ready for a sacrifice squeeze from Mariah Wicker, who's been bunt singling her way to a high batting average this entire postseason. She went 0 for 2 in today's first game. She got pinch hit for in the 7th by Aniston Wright. A couple really good plays defensively. That throw in the bottom of the 7th. The 2-0. And Wicker takes a strike.
And that makes that call at home plate with Gracie Mixon up to bat a lot more crucial after she was able to get the stolen base. Now 2 players in scoring position for Wick.
Single here probably makes it a 3-0 game. Anything out of the infield at least. Corner's drawn way in. Wick, a big swing and miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Walling a strike away from getting out of the jam. 1 run has already come across, though. Here it is. To short. Cuthbertson will throw to first. And despite the speedy Wicker heading down the line, Cuthbertson makes the play in time. Nighthawks do get on the board. An RBI double from Tegan Laval. Masonette breaks the scoreless tie in the bottom of the 2nd. Moving on to the 3rd, UNG with a 1-0 lead. Tabby Denton takes the circle again in the Southeast Regional on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity, one to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
One 1-0 Nighthawks here in the 2024 NCAA Softball Southeast Regional Tournament. Number 2, that is. Wingate and Lenore Ryan out of the South Atlantic Conference playing in a Game 7 coming up probably in a half an hour or so. That one's going to start around 4 o'clock over there in Wingate, North Carolina. Elsewhere, we mentioned in the first broadcast for the Nighthawk fans at home listening and tuning in. One, we appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that's tuning in. But North Georgia hosting 3 different NCAA regional tournaments this weekend, and all of them come to a close today. The number 1 men's golf team in the country is the University of North Georgia Nighthawks. They're hosting the Southeast Regional in Gainesville, about 30, 45 minutes from here at Chattahoochee Golf Club. Nighthawks led by 6 shots after the first 2 rounds of play were completed yesterday. As it stands right now, Will Chambliss, the last Nighthawk out on the golf course, is through 3 holes. And as a team, North Georgia is up 8 shots over Coker. The top 5 in that tournament will advance to Orlando for the national championships this year. And the latest news from the campus of the University of North Georgia here in Dahlonega, the Nighthawks already have a team heading to Orlando. The number 3 women's tennis team in the country, for the 3rd time in 23 tries in program history, takes down Columbus State, a thrilling Southeast Regional to move on between the 4th-seeded Cougars and the top-seeded Nighthawks. They win it 4-3 in total. It came down to the number 1 singles match between Angelina Linikova, who's a top 10 singles player in the country, and Mariana Ramirez for Columbus State, who's also one of the best singles players in the nation. Linikova lost the first set 7-5. She won the second one 6-3, and in a back-and-forth battle in the 3rd set, Angelina Linikova prevails 6-4 to send the Nighthawks to Orlando. And what's been a historic season, 23-1 are the Nighthawks now, and they just keep on rolling, Robert.
Yeah, congratulations to UNG's women's tennis team. They struggled in the doubles and then came back in singles to secure the win over Columbus State. And that was the only loss that they have on the season, was to the Cougars earlier in the year. Got their revenge in a big spot in the regionals, and now the Nighthawks have at least guaranteed one of their teams is now going to Orlando.
Leadoff walk from Tybee Denton to Anderson Thrower. Squeezed on that final pitch on the outside. Nighthawks got the 2nd inning scoring started with a leadoff walk. Francis Marion trying to replicate that here in the 3rd.
Tybee Denton, we've mentioned this time and time again. Her strikeouts are sensational, but the mark that she definitely wants not to be there is the walks this season.
Perfectly placed bunt. Mixing the throw to first is in time. Got the speedy runner with Emily Kahns. Francis Marion thought they had a bunt single. It goes in as a sacrifice that moves Thrower over. Very tough play by Mixon, but she got it done.
That's a classic Gracie Mixon play right there. She's on top of bunts every single time out, and she's always making the right play.
Put out goes 5-4 as the second baseman Ward was covering. This is out to left. Wicker comes in and makes the catch on a light jog. 1 pitch and 1 out for the top of the order in Madeline White. And all of a sudden there's 2 outs in the inning, and Denton's 1 out away from stranding Thrower over at second base.
You can kind of tell that these 2 teams are just very comfortable being in this situation from the past 2 games that we've seen them face off against one another. North Georgia frequently in the Southeast Regional games, and Francis Marion back-to-back appearances for them in the Southeast Regional Tournament. They just know what to expect from these kinds of matchups. They're used to playing in these high-pressure situations, and it's been a handful of really great games between 2 of the best programs in Division II softball.
The Nighthawks are looking for their 4th consecutive regional championship this year. They won't get it today. The regional crown belongs to the winner of the Super Regionals. It can be a little confusing with the double elimination and the regionals and Super Regionals and whatnot. But whoever comes out of the Southeast between all 8 teams that were selected in the Region 1 and 2 tournaments is crowned the regional champion. This one's out to center field, going back. Parker off the bat of Cuthbertson. It's actually Wicker who makes the catch squarely into the gap in left center. A run-saving pick by Mariah Wicker. She's made 4 great plays today already, and it keeps the Nighthawks in front 1-0 as they make their bid for the Super Regionals for the 4th year in a row. They'll bat in the 3rd with a 1-run lead after this on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela burns it. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
Nighthawks out in front by a lone run. Jenna Walling in the circle has only allowed one hit, but it was a big one. An RBI double from Tegan Laval Masonette last inning after a leadoff walk to Mary Seal Brumby. And the top of the order due up for the Nighthawks to start the third after a couple of really good plays by Mariah Wicker in the outfield to keep runs off the board for FMU.
Yeah, it's great to see Mariah Wicker find her stride again, even though it necessarily hasn't been up to bat today. She's made some phenomenal plays fielding for the Nighthawks in this one, and she's really kept FMU off the scoreboard. A couple of catches there, saving some runs.
Her box score at the plate is not going to reflect the impact she's had in this regional tournament. I think that's a good way to put that. Because what she's been able to do on the base paths with a couple bunt singles, moving runners over, and defensively, she's a hawk that she's really changed these games. And we're going to have an early pinch hitter for Katie Ward. This is Grayson Perry, the DP. There was a long conversation between home plate umpire Steve Winter and North Georgia head coach Mike Davenport. Now that conversation has switched over to Stacey Valley, the head coach of the Patriots. And I'm wondering how much this lineup is going to change as Grayson Perry, typically a DP, batting for Katie Ward here. And you have to imagine that Katie Ward, she was shaken up after a play in that first inning. The trainer and Mike Davenport came out to talk to her. And so Katie Ward, as Steve Winter just announced to the press box up here, has been removed for the game for concussion protocol after her and Michaela Cuthbertson collided near second base on a ground ball back in the first inning. So Grayson Perry bats for her. Grayson Perry's listed as an infielder, but has primarily played DP, or has served as the DP, I should say, all season long. That likely means Tegan Laval Masonette, the DP that started this game, will move to second base to fill in for Katie Ward defensively.
Yeah, that's a huge development. Katie Ward going down. Hopefully she's okay. And Grayson Perry having to take her spot, leading off in the batting order. You really couldn't have asked, though, for a better player to start this batting order than Grayson Perry.
Perry, a big fly yesterday. One of the most impressive home runs of the season here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium. The 1-0 from Walling, fouled away.
And Perry played a lot of seasons with her sister, Maddie Perry, the superstar shortstop who graduated last year. And Grayson has found a consistent role in the starting lineup for North Georgia this year. It's been her first real season as a starter, and she's looked fantastic.
Floated to the right side and foul out of play. So it is a big bat that the Nighthawks miss in Katie Ward, but Grayson Perry has been just as productive in this postseason. She takes ball 2 inside.
Yeah, Perry picked up the designated player on the all-conference team in the PBC, a position that can be very, very competitive. It's Perry who ends up coming out on top with that.
Chop to third and foul. It's a unique position if you're a head coach to vote for all conference, because the designated player, kind of by design, is supposed to be someone whose job is solely to hit. But it's not typically your best hitter in the lineup that serves as the DP. So you've got to pick some of the best hitters that have done that, and it's hard when you don't have anything else to go off of as their fielding maybe to base as who you want to win that award. This one's a cue job off the end of the bat in the air to Peyton Gale for the first out. But Grayson Perry did enough this season, and deservedly on the all-conference team as a designated player.
Another member of the all-conference team coming up to bat here in Georgia Blair. And if the Nighthawks want to sniff a super regional, Georgia Blair's bat has got to catch some fire. She's struggled a bit against FMU over these last few days. Going to need her bat to get warmed up here for the Nighthawks to contend for a super regional. She's been their best batter as of lately.
She reached twice in today's first game, one of them on an error, another on a rocket double in the 5th. But going beyond the box score, she had a really good swing on a deep fly out to the wall in center in her first at-bat of today. She's behind 0-2 here.
She's stepped into a big spot here for the Nighthawks after Jolie Lester's out for the season. Sophie Mooney's been out for about a month and a half now. Georgia Blair's been their best batter, and she's had a career season here in her senior year.
She gets back into the count, 2-2.
She's also another example of the pull that Coach Davenport has when it comes to bringing players into his program. Georgia Blair started at a Division I school in Virginia Tech, coming over to Division II at UNG, and she has thrived these last few years.
2-2, right back up the box. Cuthbertson's dive is unsuccessful, and Georgia Blair has a one-out knock, her first of the game.
Yeah, you want to see Georgia Blair get off to a good start here, and she does. Gets a base knock and puts a runner on for Mallory Parker, who has been near perfect today.
Reached in 3 of the 4 appearances in the first game. A home run that left the ballpark, another that didn't. Parker popped out in foul ground to Cuthbertson at short, her first time up here in game number 7. Outside, 2 balls and no strikes on the big swinging center fielder.
Yeah, whether she's been up to bat or in center field, she's made some really great plays over these last 2 days for the Nighthawks.
Strike up and in. Parker can't believe it. Neither can Mike Davenport. 2-1 the count. Parker liked what she saw, but a little late.
And typically on a Mallory Parker at bat, you will see a foul ball that she gets a good swing on. She's not going down without a fight in any at bat. Expect to see at least one big swing from Mallory Parker each time out.
This is a small swing back to the pitcher, and Walling throws out Blair at second base. Cuthbertson covering. Fielder's choice. Cuts down the lead runner.
Now batting number 22, Mary Seal Brumby.
Put out goes 1-6 for the second out. That brings up Brumby, who walked and scored in the second. It's the only run so far today. She swings at the first pitch, a changeup. Just barely wafted it foul.
And Mary Seal Brumby brings just so much energy and joy to this North Georgia squad. Had some hair by seal chants going on before the game started.
For those that don't know, Mary Seal Brumby prides herself on doing the hair of her teammates before games. It's often braided style. And I can't quite tell if it's it is a joke that they're doing, but it's also like she does do her teammates' hairs. I don't know if it's a joke that they think it's good or not. It seems like it's pretty decent, but I don't know much about doing your teammates' hairs before a game. But yes, there's an Instagram account for Mary Seal's hair that she does of her teammates called Hair by Seal, and there were UNG and FMU chants competing before this game got started, and eventually there was a Hair by Seal chant that got going. Runner goes, pitch way upstairs, no chance for Smallwood to make a throw down to second base. That's steal number 19 of the season for Mallory Parker.
It makes things a bit easier here for the big bat of Brumby, a runner in scoring position now and a speedster at that, and Mallory Parker.
Brumby's been a doubles machine this year, and she won't get one here. Swing and a miss. First strikeout of the day for Lauren Smallwood. Strands a runner in scoring position. She's fired up after that. Still 1-0 Nighthawks after 3. Francis Marion seeing what they can do on the scoreboard in the 4th inning when we return to Dahlonega on the Nighthawk Sports Network. The 2024 NCAA Softball Southeast Region 2 Tournament. Glad you could be here. Thank you so much for joining us all weekend long. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that don't get to say their names like Robert and I do on the broadcast. Plenty of students who, mind you, the year is over. They're not in class. Some of them have gone home. Many of them have stayed to work on the game day operations crew, not just here at Lincoln Trail Park in Dahlonega for the softball regional, but up in Gainesville for the golf regional, and over at Yahula Creek Park for the tennis regional. And at UNG, we appreciate all of our students and our workers who put on a fantastic show and event this weekend.
And they've definitely been busy with softball in action all weekend, and tennis over at Yahula Creek, and golf over in Gainesville. It's been a busy weekend for student workers and administration here with UNG's athletic department, so just want to give them a quick shout out for all that they do all season long, and this weekend being a busy one. They've been great all weekend long.
Quick conversation between Steve Winter and Mike Davenport. The defense is what we expected. Taking Laval Masonette moves from the DP to the second baseman. Everything else stays the same, and I'm not sure what the confusion was. So we just got announced from Steve Winter that Laval Masonette is at second. Taylor Watford took ball 1. She reached on a fielder's choice her first time up. She brought the only offense of the day so far for Francis Marion. A 3-run shot in game number 1 today. Came back in the 5th inning.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time before Watford was going to break through. One of the best home run hitters in FMU history. Almost brought the Patriots back into that one. Definitely made things interesting. Ultimately, that was all the scoring that the Patriots would see, though.
See what Denton does with her here on 3-0. Stays away, but in the strike zone to get a strike back. Watford with 14 home runs. That one she hit today, her first of the regional. And strike 2. Getting right back there. But, yeah, you're absolutely right, Robert. You knew no matter who the opponent was, Taylor Watford was not going to continue this regional without a home run, most likely. A slugging percentage near 800 this year for her. Payoff pitch popped up to the left side. Mixon long, ranging over by the bullpen. It's close. She makes the catch right against the wall. A huge foul out against Taylor Watford, who was up in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. Denton gets a few back and then gets the out on the pop out to start this 4th inning.
Had about 3 Nighthawks in the vicinity there to make the play. Mixon, Moody, and Wicker all came over. A great play there by Mixon, a typical hustle play there from her to get the out.
We've seen a lot of those pop-outs so far today. Moody throws over to first, and Smith is out. But we've seen many foul flies be popped up to the right or left side towards the bullpen players ranging over, and almost always they sneak out of play into the bullpen, beyond the bullpen, much further than it looks like they're going to be actually. And that one just held right along the line where Gracie Mixon didn't quite have to reach over the bullpen wall, but just stood directly above it to make the catch.
And those could be some really deciding factors in a game like this, where you put in that a little extra effort to get the out, and now with 2 outs up on the scoreboard, Patriots try to rally here against Tybee Denton. She may have other plans.
Peyton Gale swings and misses. Denton, 1 hit allowed, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. No runs so far with 2 down in the 4th. She's got Gale behind 1 and 2. Tybee Denton, a 2.15 ERA in the postseason, over 30 innings now, with the 3 completed so far today. The 2.15 above her season average because of those games against Columbus State from the PBC tournament that get calculated into there. It's been a total of 9 earned runs for Tybee.
Yeah, 2 words that come to mind when you think of Tybee are just dominance and winning. One of the best pitchers that you'll see in Division II softball.
Sky to the left side. I think the 2 words that I think of when I hear Tybee Denton's name are no hits.
Yeah.
She's had so many 1-hit, no-hit bids this season. I believe the number is 6 outings of 1 or less hits. She did have a 5-inning no-hitter against King University way back in February.
Yeah, no hits and strikeouts.
Yes.
I guess that's 1 word.
Depends how you use it in the sentence. Grammatically, it can be 1 or 2 different words. But in this case, I think that would be 1 word.
Yeah, that's why I'm a communications and not a English major, unfortunately.
I just know it because Grammarly tells me when it's wrong. Right field, Simmons a couple steps over. She makes the catch on the liner from Peyton Gale. 1-2-3 is the 4th inning for Francis Marion. Nighthawks will bat after these words on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
The Nighthawk Sports Network, your home for the Dahlonega version of the 2024 Softball Southeast Regional. Glad you could be here with us. Robert DiClemente is next to me. I am Brennan Shabath. Devin Kupka and Bailey Vessel, contributors to the broadcast this weekend as well. Everyone that you just heard, not named Brendan Shabath, a student worker. We appreciate them for being here. Bottom of the 4th, it'll be Madison Simmons, Tegan Laval, Masonette, and Riley Moody batting for the Nighthawks, holding that 1-run lead. We mentioned it yesterday. It hasn't really come to fruition today, but the 3rd and 4th innings, the most productive innings of the year for the Nighthawks. Over 170 of their 400-plus runs coming in the 3rd and 4th innings before the postseason.
Yeah, these middle of the games is where North Georgia has really thrived all season long, and this is their chance to show here. They want a chance in the Super Regional. They're up 1-0. Not comfortable, though, against this Francis Marion team. They've got to put a few more runs up on the board to cushion this lead.
In the first game today, they got a lone run in the 4th, and then it was the 5th that really blew it open with 5 runs to make it a 7-0 game at the time. A 7-3 final if you missed it. And if you missed it, what are you doing? This is playoff softball. Come on.
Right, you're right. Yeah, we got a bunch of action going on here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. You're missing out if you're not tuning in.
Both versions of the Southeast Regional going to a decisive 7th game. Haven't had a chance to look at the rest of the national bracket yet. During the first game, we took a look, and all 1 and 2 seeds were still alive after the first 2 days. Left side, Madison Simmons is through for a knock. We can confirm that in the Midwest region, the 1 and 2 seeds, U Indy and Trevecca Nazarene, have advanced to the Super Regional. Adelphi, the 2 seed in their region, has advanced as well. And Augustana, the 4 seed, has moved on. And it looks like Madison Simmons will be pinch run for here. Caitlin Johnson, the freshman, taking her place over there at first base.
Johnson, a speedster we saw earlier today, and Dava goes back into his lineup to bring her back out.
Now running number 1, Caitlin Johnson.
So Davenport trying to pad that lead as much as he can. Right now, there's only one swing that could change the scoreboard when Francis Marion's at the plate. Nighthawks looking for some insurance. Laval Masonette, the RBI contributor already today, takes ball 1.
You talk about the scores around Division II softball when it comes to the regionals. Unfortunately, that Wingate-Lenore Rhine game just started at 0-0, top of the first, and unless we have a run rule game, may not have the final score of that one before this one is over to decide who hosts the Super Regional.
So Pittsburgh State, the number 1 seed in their region, is out as Augustana advances. This is Laval Masonette through the left side. Back-to-back left side singles for the Nighthawks. 2 on with nobody out, and Riley Moody is going to bat.
I've seen the Nighthawks do a lot of damage this year with 2 outs up on the board, but I think they'll take this here. No outs, 2 runners on, and Moody, who's played some of her best softball as of late, has a chance to potentially add to this North Georgia lead.
So that's the central region that Augustana in South Dakota is out. They take down 51-6 Pittsburgh State to advance to the Supers. So 1 seed is already down nationally. Both runners off the bases. Caitlin Johnson's in between third and second. She just goes back to second on no throw from Lauren Smallwood. And check that, I think that's Kendall Miller behind the plate. Smallwood was their starting catcher. Miller is the only other catcher listed. And through the catcher's gear, Robert, that sure looks like a 1-8 on the back of that jersey to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it sure does. They made some substitutions here while we...
Moody, a perfect bunt with the backspin right in front of Madeline White, the third baseman. How does that happen? Riley Moody loads the bases, putting a little English on the laces.
Yeah, that could have easily just been a sac bunt for Riley Moody to advance runners to second and third and give us an out on the scoreboard. But it has shifted here. Bases are juiced for Gracie Mixon.
I don't know that I've ever seen a softball do that. I mean, it took 1 hop, was going towards Madeline White. You thought another hop, she maybe fields it on a short hop before it bounces on the third. And it just, on the second hop, zipped back and died right in its place. And there was no chance White was going to get any of the runners, including Moody, over at first.
A huge spot here for Gracie Mixon now. With the bases loaded, like you mentioned, Brendan, this is where North Georgia has thrived all season long. In the heart of these games, 3rd and 4th innings.
Mixon swinging on the first pitch. It's popped up to the right side and caught by Peyton Gale at second base. Obviously, nobody can tag. Caitlin Johnson may be trying to goad an errant throw, which she almost got. A nice stop by Walling just inside the circle. And Sophie Mooney will bat with the bases loaded.
How about this? Sophie Mooney, who struggled a bit yesterday, at least when it came to the running side of things with her hamstring injuries. Where she hasn't struggled, though, has been up to bat. So it's great to see Sophie Mooney getting some run here in this game as Coach Davenport goes to one of the best batters in Division II softball.
The MVP of the national championship a year ago, a third-team All-American. No matter what, injury or not, you don't want to see her at the plate with the bases loaded and an elimination game. For some reason, the infield is drawn in a little bit. I really do not expect Mooney to take a bunt here. Plenty of speed at every base. Johnson at first, Laval Masonette at second, Moody at third. And it's 1-0 on the All-American. Floating a changeup in there was Walling. She doesn't get the call in the upper part of the zone. 2 balls and no strikes.
That was a good-looking pitch, though, from Walling. Thought that was going to even up the count.
I don't know if our crowd might pick that one up. I'll give it to you after this next pitch. The 2-0 inside, 3 and no strikes. I believe a Francis Marion fan using deductive reasoning said, I got $50 more than them, Blue. Come on.
I think that the banter back and forth here between the UNG and FMU fans, all in good nature. It's been great back and forth here between these two squads.
3 balls, no strikes on Mooney. And she takes ball 4. It gets away. And so a run is walked in to make it 2-0.
And I can imagine maybe Sophie Mooney will get a pinch runner. It looks like she's going to stay on first, though. Coach Davenport doesn't look like he's going to make any changes here.
As of right now, it's Grayson Perry resuming her spot. And now here comes the pinch runner. There we go. So Mariah Wicker re-entered. That's who Sophie Mooney pinch hit for. Wicker re-enters. And again, speed galore on the bases. It would normally be speed galore on the bases anyways if Mooney was out there. But with her injuries, she's just not up to that full level that she normally is.
Yeah, Mooney, one of the quickest players in the Peach Belt Conference.
In the country.
In the country, yeah. Don't want to sell Mooney short. One of the best in the country when it comes to her speed. I believe she hasn't been caught out on a stolen base all season long before she went down with an injury. And it's great to see her get some run here, even if it is just drawing a walk.
Perry, big swing at the fastball. So Mooney gets credited with the RBI on the bases loaded walk. Still only 1 out recorded in the inning with Perry at the dish. Wicker now at first. Moody moved over to second. Taking Laval Masonette 60 feet from home at third. The 0-1 to Perry. Fouled away. Perry had her first. It's categorized as a pinch hit opportunity. She batted for Katie Ward, who left the game with concussion protocol. So Perry's first at-bat was last inning in the third, where she popped out. Nowhere to put him. The 0-2. Outside. And Francis Marion can't exactly just go to another pitcher yet. They've got their pitchers sitting in the bullpen, but nobody warming. For right now, this is Jenna Walling's inning. Maybe that changes if the Nighthawks put up some more runs. As that one skips over the shoelaces of Perry.
Yeah, Walling has only allowed the Nighthawks to 2 runs, but she's allowed a handful of hits in this one. Like I said at the beginning of this game, wouldn't be surprised if Poston made one final appearance today as one of the best pitchers in the nation.
2-2, swing and a miss. Walling with another big-time strikeout, her second of the game. She needs one more out to leave them loaded and keep her team within shouting distance of the Nighthawks.
And this is a big opportunity here for North Georgia, this team's leader in home runs up to bat.
First pitch to Blair, in for a strike. Should have singled back up the middle in the third, popped out in the first. Blair to the right side. That's trouble. That is down in front of the right fielder, Smith. One run has come around. Moody scores as well. It's a 2-run single for Georgia Blair. She'll just trot over to second base without a throw as she takes another. Nighthawks double their lead in the fourth.
Just what the doctor ordered here if you're Georgia Blair. Returning to form from what we saw all season long and in the regionals. Gives North Georgia the 4-0 lead, a big one. 2 outs and 2 runners in scoring position for Parker as well.
Doesn't get easier after you finish your at-bat against Georgia Blair. So Laval, Masonette, and Moody scored. That's Wicker who's technically pinch running for Sophie Mooney, who pinch hit for Wicker over at third base. Parker takes strike one. Two down in the inning. Parker, the eighth batter to come to the plate. Nighthawks have had 4 singles in the frame.
And Mallory Parker up to bat. She's just another example of the Nighthawks being calm, cool, and collected. It's their first appearance in the regional tournament since 2022, and she has been up to the task this weekend. Big game earlier today, and in a winner-go-home situation, she's still playing as good as ever.
Good take on that pitch outside. Makes it 2-1. Three balls and a strike. They do have first base open, as Brumby would be next. And she will. Second walk in the inning, third overall that Jenna Walling has conceded.
It looks like Coach Valley coming out here to talk with the home plate ump, and not sure what this conversation is looking like, but.
And here comes Alyssa Poston out of the bullpen. A pitching change. Frances Marion feeling the pressure. They're going to go to their ace. We'll step aside here on the Nighthawk Sports Network in just a few moments. We'll be back with Frances Marion, sophomore star in the circle.
In a world driven by innovation and ambition, it's not just about following the path. It's about creating your unique journey. At Frances Marion, you'll acquire the knowledge and skills you need to create the future you want. And you'll do it all surrounded by a community that's strongly committed to your success and your future. Frances Marion University, South Carolina's premier educational choice. In a world driven by innovation and ambition, it's not just about following the path. It's about creating your unique journey. At Frances Marion, you'll acquire the knowledge and skills you need to create.
I'll tell you when. Go ahead. Alyssa Poston, the starter, who was stellar in Game 1 of this series yesterday, and in Game 1 of today's 2 games, comes out of the bullpen in a big spot, trying to keep the Nighthawks within reach. FMU's already down 4-0. Bases loaded, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, definitely not surprised to see Poston get one more shot in the circle here for the Patriots. Been their best player all season long.
Brumby off the end of the bat. No, they say foul. That would have been the 3rd out most likely had Poston been able to make the play. So Poston, after going 9 complete innings yesterday in the first game against the Nighthawks, in Game 1 today, only made it 4 2/3. She gave up 4 earned runs on 5 hits, including a pair of home runs. In the 1-1, roped foul by Brumby. She's way out in front of it. That's over the road that runs along Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium.
Yeah, Brumby had a good-looking swing on that one. Couldn't keep it fair. She's got a grand slam under her belt, though, this year.
The 1-2. Out into left center, squarely into the gap, but Emily Kahns has room in left field to make the catch. Nighthawks leave them loaded, but they do bring home 2. Make that 3 runs, and they take a 4-0 lead as we're on to the 5th from Dahlonega on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Michaela Goss will lead off the 5th inning for Francis Marion. As we mentioned, there was a different catcher. It was Kendall Miller, the sophomore from Brazelton, Georgia, and a University of Alabama Huntsville transfer, who was suited up in the gear, and she now has a bat in the on-deck circle. So she takes the place of Lauren Smallwood, who struck out in the 2nd inning. So Miller will get to bat as well this inning in the 7-hole, and then it'll be Anderson Thrower, the DP.
Nighthawks making some substitutions as well with, looks like Caitlin Johnson in right field.
First pitch into Goss for a strike. And it's Wicker in left, Parker in center, and that is Johnson in right field. The infield stays the same as it did the last time you saw it. We'll give it to you again just in case. It's Gracie Mixon at third, Brumby at first, Moody and Laval Masonette at short and second, respectively. Blair still the catcher.
Yeah, very rarely will you see Georgia Blair give up her spot as the catcher. She's been holding that spot down for quite some time, unless it's a blowout for North Georgia. Expect to see Blair behind the plate.
A couple of foul balls from Goss has her still in an 0-2 count. Ooh, Nighthawk fans don't like that call on the outside. It's the first ball to Michaela Goss, a sophomore.
Tabby Denton looking for her 2nd strikeout this afternoon.
And Goss won't give it to her easy. So an update from Wingate. Lenore Rhine, the home team as well in Game 7. They're up 1-0 in the top of the 3rd. They got a run in the 2nd inning to take that lead. And Denton gets a swing and miss after a long battle with Michaela Goss for her 2nd strikeout of the game, 1st of the inning.
Now batting number 18, Kendall Miller.
Kendall Miller with a big swing and miss on her first pitch seen.
A transfer on the squad from Alabama Huntsville. Played 1 season there and primarily serving as the backup catcher for this FMU squad.
Lenore Rhine taking that lead in the bottom of the 2nd on a solo home run from Madison Prim, the 3rd baseman out there. One and one on Miller. Left side, Moody going back, Wicker coming in. It'll be Moody on a couple back steps. 2 up, 2 down.
And where where FMU has struggled a bit this season is when it comes to their losses, they only have 12 on the season, just picked up 1 about 2 hours ago. In 6 of those 12 losses, they've come in instances where they've been back-to-back. Now, whether that comes in a doubleheader or against a different team, still half of their losses this year have come off of the back of another one.
Flipped foul. We mentioned the stat from one of our student workers and the public address announcer today, Devin Kupka, that he found. The Nighthawks 6-0 in the 2 games following an opening loss in a 3-game series, which they obviously had to Francis Marion this weekend. Nasty swing and miss from Thrower, and she is out. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Back-to-back outs recorded by Tybee Denton. She has retired 8 straight batters going all the way back to the 3rd inning. Keeps her team in front 4-0 as they'll bat in the 5th here in Dahlonega in the Southeast Regional 2024 on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
I pledge.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
Alyssa Poston on now in the 5th. She came on to face Mary Seal Brumby in the 4th and did get the final out. Now in the 5th, it'll start with Caitlin Johnson.
Coach Davenport's had a really good mix this year of veteran players on his squad, making one more run at a national championship, and some young players who are hungry to make a name for themselves on one of the best programs in Division II softball. Johnson, another example of that, been put in a big spot here, whether it's a pinch run or in right field, and now up to bat here for the Nighthawks.
Johnson takes upstairs. She does not have an at-bat in this postseason. On the year, she's got 29, 7 hits to go along with it. She's ahead 2-1 and make it 8. Caitlin Johnson, a leadoff single here in the 5th. And with a 4-run advantage, should the Nighthawks match that total, they can win this game and head to the Super Regionals in this inning. And we know Mike Davenport's going to go for it.
Oh, absolutely. We know that Nighthawks are no strangers to run rule victories. 4-0 lead, though, against this FMU squad. They've got to, like you said, match that in order to get to that run rule territory.
And no matter what, it's going to be hard to put up 4 runs in an inning against Alyssa Poston, even if she's perhaps a little bit rattled after giving up 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings in the first game today.
Yeah, she definitely has not looked the same since letting up a handful of runs in that first game earlier today.
Just her demeanor, even. We could tell when she came off the mound out of the circle, when she came out very upset with herself when she got pulled in the middle of that game. Obviously, she's a fierce competitor. She's a bulldog out there, the way she plays, and it's fun to watch the way she pitches.
No doubt about it. She's been sensational.
And the other side of that spectrum is low lows as far as the emotions go when you don't quite perform the way you think you're capable of or the way you want to, obviously. And that's what happened in the first game of the day.
And regardless of the outcome of this game, whether FMU ends up going home today or they end up advancing to the Super Regional, she's just a sophomore. She has quite the career ahead of her.
I would not be surprised if the Nighthawks see Alyssa Poston at some point again in the near future, maybe in a very similar situation to this one.
Oh, no doubt about it. With the track that both of these programs are on, consistently appearing in the Southeast Regional Tournament, I definitely wouldn't be shocked to see this matchup again next year.
Runner going on the 2-2. Laval Masonette out to right. Now Caitlin Johnson's got to get back to first quickly. She does so in time as the throw gets away. It's covered well by Poston as she backs it up. Laval Masonette with 3 really good swings today, a single and a double already, and that one a fly out to right. That's 1 out now for Riley Moody.
And that was a good rebound play there by the fielding for FMU, who hasn't looked great today, but End up coming up with the play there with Smith. Also keeps the runner stranded on first base.
Riley Moody had a bunt single last inning. Came around to score. She pops another bunt, but it goes foul. Deal one, powered foul. Moody got all of that one, but couldn't keep it between the lines.
And that may have Poston and the rest of this fielding for FMU on their toes. Moody got all of that one. Couldn't keep it fair, though.
Center field on a line and caught by Michaela Goss.
It looks like in that Wingate-Lenore Ryan game.
I was just, you beat me to it. How dare you? Come on.
I had it right in front of me. I had it right in front of me. It's definitely a game that I think everybody's keeping their eye on.
Yeah, we all are. We're all scoreboard watching. But yes, you are right with your update. It's now tied 1-1. Gracie Mixon comes up. See, I was going to say Gracie Mixon stepping to the plate now gives us an opportunity to take a look at the Wingate game. You just jumped right into it.
Oh,
You're the guy who the pool door opens, the pool gate, and she just cannonballs right away,
I'm
aren't
jumping
you?
right in, head first.
Man, doesn't a pool sound nice today?
It does.
It's been a gorgeous, maybe that's what happens when I go home.
Jumping in the pool after this?
Just maybe. Johnson going on the pitch again. The throw on to second is a great one, and she is out right there at the bag. Kendall Miller cut her down right at second base. Still a 4-0 lead. Francis Marion. 6 outs remain. Can they spark a comeback in the 6th? We'll find out after the break on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity. One to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
Francis Marion needs a comeback. They trail 4 runs. They've only got 6 outs left to do it if they are going to fight another day and advance to the Super Regionals for the first time in 16 years. However, they haven't had a hit since their second at-bat of the game with Michaela Cuthbertson's single back up the middle. Emily Kahns, Madeline White, and Cuthbertson are scheduled to bat here in the 6th as Tybee Denton has sent down 8 consecutive batters, 2 of them via strikeout.
You always got to keep your eye on FMU. Mentioned this in the first game. Had a historic season last year when it came to their runs. Scored more runs than any team across all divisions, including Division I. They had a phenomenal season. They've taken a bit of a step back this year when it comes to their run production, but still one of the top, at least 20 in the country when it comes to that stat.
2-0 on Kahns. She dropped down a sacrifice bunt in the 3rd. This is just her 2nd time batting since then. In this game, Denton has only had 2 innings where she's faced more than 3 batters. You can do the math. That means there's only been 3 total base runners in this game. There was a unassisted ground out to Cuthbertson back in the 1st.
It's kind of similar to what we saw in the first game that North Georgia took on FMU earlier in this tournament where, you know, both Nighthawks and the Patriots didn't get a ton of at-bats.
Pulled back in a strike by Cons on the 3-0 bunt attempt. We already saw Denton once fall behind 3-0 to Taylor Watford. And find a way back in the count, and she does so here. It's full.
And very rarely, if you see Tybee Denton walk a batter, is it an account where it's 4-0 or 4-1. It's usually a full count like this. If Tybee Denton's going to walk a batter, we've also seen, of course, plenty of times this season, Tybee Denton record a strikeout with the 200-plus she has this year.
208 in total. She needs a new ball. Reached 500 for her career towards the end of the regular season. Full count. Chopped foul.
I mean, the pitching that's been on display here between these two squads, sensational. Poston and Denton, 400 combined strikeouts between the two of them this season. When you've got a player on your squad like one of these two where a pitcher with 200-plus strikeouts on the season, it's definitely a very good luxury to have.
Right side, ranging in is Johnson. She'll make the play. Long at bat that Denton wins against Emily Cons, and the lineup now flips over.
That was a great play there by Johnson, and typically in a big spot like this, if you're a head coach, you want to go with something that you're typically comfortable with. Could have kept Madison Simmons in there. Of course, we know that she suffered some sort of a hand or wrist injury during that first game earlier today, putting Johnson in right field. So a lot of new faces out there for the Nighthawks, but so far it has worked out pretty well for them.
The strike one to White. Bunted off her foot. Maybe not off her foot. It was in the glove of Blair. It's 0-2 anyways. Outside close, but ball one. White just flicks it foul. She's 0 for 3, or over 2, excuse me, in this second game. She went 1 for 4 in the first one. Not exactly the numbers you want from your leadoff hitter, who's been, average-wise, your best hitter this season. Popped up, and foul, out of play.
White, a member of the Conference Carolina's all-defensive team as well. Something that you don't see in the Peach Belt Conference. Was a member of the academic all-conference team as well, all-tournament team. She's been racking up some accolades this year.
A little bit of everything. One down in the inning so far. Long at bat here into center. Parker ranges over and then in a little bit. Looked very similar to the outstanding, sensational catch that Mallory Parker had in center field yesterday to save a run. That was in extra innings in the 8th against these Patriots.
Yeah, that was a huge grab for her. Arguably a game-saving catch there. It's a big one from her.
At the time it was, because the Nighthawks went scoreless then in the bottom of the 8th. It was in the 9th that Francis Marion added their winning run. That game yesterday was a lot of fun, though. The defense for both of them, the pitching for both of them was an absolute blast. And today, the Nighthawks have been in control in both games thus far.
Yeah, we've had some really great games between these two squads, two nationally ranked teams in Division II softball, two fantastic programs.
Michaela Cuthbertson could not get a base hit if she tried. It didn't make any sense, but you get it.
I think the point got across that she's just been fantastic all day long.
3 for 3 in the first game today, 2 for 3 today. She had a hit as well in 3 tries, in 2 at-bats yesterday against the Nighthawks. And that's why Stacey Valley moved her up to the 2-hole for this final winner-go-home game. Now Watford could cut the deficit in half with a big fly. That's certainly always in the cards as long as she's standing inside the batter's box.
And this is a big matchup here for Tybee Denton going up against Watford in the top of the 6th inning, trying to limit Watford to what could be her last plate appearance in this one, depending on what the Patriots are able to do in the top of the 7th inning.
It's only Watford's 3rd appearance at the dish today. She reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st and popped out in the 4th. She's ahead 2-1. She powers that one left field and foul off the NCAA logo out there and left. Not quite home run distance because it did hit the wall, but certainly gave the Nighthawks a jump scare. Two and two now. Low and away.
And it's interesting when you look at her batting average coming into this weekend at .421. Got in the notes here, if her career ended today, that would be the highest batting average in FMU history. She has been phenomenal over the course of her career.
Swing and a miss. Denton Kaiser anyways. Strikeout number 4 for Tybee Denton. Nighthawks still shutting out the Patriots. 6th inning. We are here in Dahlonega. It's a 4-0 lead for North Georgia, trying to head back to the Super Regionals for the 4th year in a row.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess.
An incredible finish by Hall. The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
Four runs on 7 hits for the Nighthawks. No runs on 2 hits for Frances Marion. Clean defensive game so far. We're here in the bottom of the 6th. And as the score stands, this is the last chance for North Georgia to pad their lead. And they'll have to find a way past the ace, Alyssa Poston.
The Nighthawks weren't able to add any runs to that 4-run lead that they had last time out against Frances Marion, which made things a bit interesting going into that final inning for the Nighthawks and FMU. And so if you're in North Georgia, you definitely want to see at least 1 run come across the scoreboard here in the bottom of the 6th as we try to close it out as the home team in the top of the 7th.
Mike Davenport likes to, A, win games by run rules while you're batting, and B, if you can't do that, at minimum, get out of Grand Slam territory as Gracie Mixon puts this one deep out to left. It is off the glove of Kahns down there in left field. All the way in the corner, Gracie Mixon gave it a ride. It's a double to start the bottom of the 6th.
Mixon picking up right where she left off yesterday. A big play there. And if the left fielder for FMU was able to come up with the grab there back at the wall, Kahns, that would have been a fantastic play, but it keeps it fair and keeps Mixon on second.
Again, we've talked about it a little bit in the regular season. I don't think it's been mentioned here in the regional. All turf is what you see. So the warning track where players are used to feeling that change of surface from grass to dirt to know they're getting closer to the wall, they don't have that indication anymore. So you can see the hesitancy from outfielders sometimes as they know they're nearing the wall, but they don't actually know how close. That comes up, and it's tough to make those plays sometimes, and it feels like it was a factor on that one in Cons' inability to pull in that catch.
It looks like we're going to have some substitutions out here for Coach Davenport. Not surprised here, as, like you said, wants to go for a run rule win when the opportunity presents itself. Takes Gracie Mixon out and puts a speedster in Caroline Branch over there at second base.
And again, what I was saying, and I'll articulate it better now because I was so rudely interrupted by Gracie Mixon nearly hitting a home run, was that he likes to win by the run rule, and if he can't, at least get out of Grand Slam territory. Be up by 5 going into the last inning. That's why Caroline Branch gets pinch run here for Gracie Mixon. Because of her speed, she's going to make it so much more likely that the Nighthawks can get that 5th run, and even if things get disastrous in the 7th, no matter what, one swing will not tie the game.
Yeah, it's making those small adjustments for Coach Davenport that could be the deciding factor. Mixon is not a slow player by any means, but Caroline Branch just slightly faster and could be big here.
Wicker, a nice bunt right in front of the plate. She's safe at first base as well. Now Wicker's trying to go for second, and they're just going to give it to her. Mike Davenport sending her to second base, hoping there'd be a play at the base so Branch could come home to score. You can see he's dying to get that 5th run across.
It makes things easier here. You got 2 runners in scoring position, and your DP up to bat as it returns to the top of the batting order here with Grayson Perry.
So Wicker gets to second basically on live defensive indifference because they're not going to take the chance at letting Branch come home. And so Perry will bat now, and a violation on Grayson Perry before the at-bat starts, so it's 0-1. She'll drop down a bunt, and it's back foul, and because of the violation, that's the only opportunity she has to let a bunt go foul. Now with the 0-2, she can't do that again, or it'll be a strikeout.
Got 2 speedsters on here, and Branch and Wicker just able to poke something down in right field. It's pretty much 2 guaranteed runs.
Outfield plays Perry straight up everywhere. The infield brings the corners in case the bunt. And with 2 strikes, she'll take upstairs anyways. Just in on the hands and foul. Bases loaded walk in the 4th inning up there in North Carolina puts Lenore Ryan back in front of Wingate 2-1 in the top of the 4th.
It's been a pretty quick game, almost catching up to us a bit here.
Yeah. 1-2. That's out into center field. This should get the run home. Branch will tag on the catch from Goss. The play at the plate is cut off in the circle. Wicker is out at third base as she tried to tag. Watford, the first baseman, cut it off right near the rubber. But the Nighthawks do get that coveted 5th run that Mike Davenport wanted.
Yeah,
and now there's 2 outs in the inning for Georgia Blair.
Yeah, that's exactly what you needed if you're Coach Davenport. Just getting that one insurance run, like you said, Brendan, taking FMU out of Grand Slam territory to tie the game up, and that one run could be crucial in this one as the Nighthawks try to close it out in the top of the 7th inning.
8-3-5 the put out as Wicker tried to tag for second. We'll see how important that ends up being in the top of the 7th. Blair in a 1-0. Swings and hits it out to left. Hard on a line, but it hangs up. No, it's dropped for a moment and then lands down. Emily Cons couldn't make the catch.
Guess we were getting a bit too ahead of ourselves talking about the top of the 7th when you got one of the best batters on this team up to bat. Georgia Blair has been fantastic.
It is difficult to give an outfielder an error, but Emily Cons does get one there. So E7 puts Blair on for the third time today. And with 2 outs, it'll mean Mallory Parker will bat once more, her 4th time at the dish.
Now batting number 2, Mallory Parker.
Lefty on lefty here with Poston in the circle. Parker can't believe that was a strike. The way she looked back was hilarious.
Heard a couple of grunts here from the Nighthawk faithful after that call, too.
Oh, and 2 now. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Parker to second. Scooped up right into the chest of Peyton Gale. She makes the play over at first base. Nighthawks lead it by 5. Francis Marion, their last chance to end a 16-year drought. Coming up, we'll decide who's heading to the Super Regional here in the Southeast region of the 2024 NCAA Softball Tournament on the Nighthawk Sports Network. The FMU faithful have made the trip to Dahlonega, and they have come to the realization this is their last chance. A Francis Marion team that was so excited and perhaps a little bit shocked to take down North Georgia after holding them to a single run over 9 innings yesterday. Today, North Georgia jumped on them early. They've held them scoreless thanks to Tybee Denton and her 4 strikeouts and just 2 hits allowed here in Game 7 of the Southeast Regional. UNG 3 outs away from heading back to the Supers.
Yeah, Tybee Denton's had a typical dominant game in the circle thus far. Trying to close the door here on the Patriots. In a big spot here, though. Patriots with their firepower. Down but never out of games. Tybee Denton, one of the best pitchers in Division II softball, is going to try to end it here.
Katie Smith starts it off with at least a single. She'll turn and head for 2. Over to second base. She's in there standing up. A leadoff double. That's exactly what Francis Marion needs.
Yeah, the ability of this team to rack up the hits and rack up the runs over the last 2 years has been something to really marvel at, and this team is not going to go down without a fight against North Georgia.
They will need plenty of runners and at least one to score before they can think about tying the game. That one gets away from Blair on the swing and miss from Gale. Over to third goes Smith. The 0-1. Popped up foul. Back behind home. So Mike Davenport leaving Tybee Denton in here in the 7th. You wouldn't expect anything different, but I think some people might be wondering of her ability to get out of this inning after the PBC championship. Just foul. right in front of the plate on the 0-2.
I think this is a good call by Coach Davenport. Leaving Tybee Denton in, having the confidence in her to close this game out. Had an uncharacteristic performance from her in the PBC Tournament Championship. Looking to bounce back here and end this game, end this series, send her team to the Super Regional.
Fans on their feet. The 0-2. Check swing, strike 3.
Tybee Denton doing what she does best, racking up the strikeouts, her 5th today, and a big first out here for the Nighthawks.
It took 7 batters for her to get her first in this game, which is very atypical for her. But in the last 9 that she's faced, she struck out 4. This is a pinch hitter now, Emma Moberg, redshirt sophomore out of Stokesdale, North Carolina, pinch hitting for Michaela Goss. And ball 1 for Moberg.
Now these fans here still rallying for FMU, making about the 3-hour or so commit.
Emma this season the most at-bats of any non-qualified hitter for Francis Marion this year. Non-qualified meaning you have to have 2 plate appearances per game and have played in 75% of your team's game to qualify for statistical minimums. Of all the players that don't qualify, she has the most at-bats at 115. She's hitting 200 in those 115 at-bats this year.
She's had a bit of a comeback season after missing all of last year, medical redshirt, and she's put in a big spot here by Conference Carolina's Coach of the Year, Coach Valley.
And she's worked a good count. 3-1. Upstairs and a walk. Just the second walk of the day for Tybee Denton.
Yeah, she's limited that in this matchup, something where she's struggled a bit with this season. Unfortunately, though, her second of the day comes in a big moment in the top of the 7th here to put runners on the corners.
And so Michaela Goss immediately re-entered for Moberg as a pinch runner over at first. And the catcher, Kendall Miller, still at the plate. Her second at-bat today. She did not start this game. Lauren Smallwood did and struck out in the 2nd inning. And in the 7th hole, Miller popped out in the 5th. Big at-bat here in the 7th. First and third are the runners. 1 out in the inning. And strike 1 to Miller. Denton skips one up there for ball 1. Good block by Blair to probably save a run and keep Goss over at first base. And now she'll come out and chat it up with her pitcher.
Like we've said before, these visits in the circle typically pay off for North Georgia, whether it's just the players and Georgia Blair and Tybee Denton or Coach Medina comes out to the circle. They usually fare well for these 2 players, and you can even see after Georgia Blair left the circle, Tybee Denton still got a smile on her face.
Ball and a strike. 2-1 now. Smith at third after her leadoff double. Goss over at first. Fouled away off the end of the bat of Kendall Miller. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, they've looked pretty disciplined at the plate here, the Patriots have in this inning. Not trying to force anything here against North Georgia.
Out to left and foul. This game certainly feels like it's much closer than 5-0. The Nighthawks need this from Denton. They're going to need her if they can advance out of here and make another run to a national championship. She's going to have to come up in pressure situations. Swing and a miss. And it's tipped. Looks like Blair caught something there. Not sure if it was the bat or the ball, maybe. Denton almost had a big-time strikeout.
And Blair maybe a bit shaken up there after that pitch from Tybee Denton.
Riley Shimon out. Blair flexing, flopping that hand. Appears she'll be okay. That is her right hand, her throwing hand. Six pitches in the at-bat. This will be number 7. It's 2-2. That one's low. Full count now. Payoff swing and a miss. Denton inside on Miller. Forces a swing, and there's one out left for North Georgia.
That was a low swing there, too, by Miller. That could have potentially been called ball 4 to load the bases. Instead, it's 2 outs. Runner still on the corners, though, for the Patriots.
Here come the fans with 2 outs. Pitch inside for ball 1 to Anderson Thrower. A walk and a strikeout for her so far today. Frances Marion has not gone past this point in the NCAA tournament in 16 years. North Georgia hasn't failed to do so since the COVID season. It's 2-0 now. Three balls and no strikes on Thrower.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to cause a visit here in the circle for Tybee again with Coach Medina. And a big spot here. Want to avoid loading the bases against a team that has seen a lot of home run production this year.
Emily Collins waits on deck. She only has 1 long ball this year, a .412 slugging percentage, just a few percentage points better than her near .370 average. So not exactly at home run risk with Cons on deck. I think Aaliyah Medina out there telling Tybee, 1 out. That's all you got to do. Don't worry, don't stress, get this out. Let's go to the Supers.
Shake off that PBC championship game. It's a whole new ball game here in the regionals. Tybee Denton trying to get the biggest out of the season.
The 3-0 in for a strike is Anderson Thrower, expectedly taking all the way. Thrower's walk in the 3rd came with a full count. Her strikeout in the 5th was on 3 pitches. Denton the 3-1. Inside strike 2. Thrower was ready to chuck the bat, and now Frances Marion is down to their last strike.
Like we said, these visits in the circle pay off for Tybee Denton. Another huge moment.
3-2 now. 2 outs, 2 on. 5-run game. Back to Denton. It's caught! The Nighthawks advance to the Super Regional for the 4th straight season. A scare yesterday after an extra inning loss to these Patriots put the Nighthawks with their backs against the wall, needing to win 3 straight. They go 9-0 over Flagler, 7-3 in game 1 today over Frances Marion. and a 5-0 dominating win by Tybee Denton and the Nighthawks. They will go back to the Super Regional, Robert, for a 4th consecutive season.
Yeah, great performance from North Georgia over these last 2 games. Backs against the wall, 2 consecutive game on the line or season on the line situations here for the Nighthawks, and they prevailed, showing why they're one of the best programs in Division II softball. You could just tell that they were comfortable all game long, and a big 5-0 win for them sees them yet again in the Super Regional, somewhere where they are very accustomed to being.
Francis Marion's tremendous season ends at 48-12 with plenty accomplished. An East Division title in the Conference Carolinas. They've got the Conference Carolinas Pitcher and Coach of the Year. They won the conference tournament, and they fall just short here in the Southeast Region 2 tournament of advancing to the Super Regionals. The Nighthawks thanking their fans that came and so proudly supported all of them today as they do the participation ceremony for the non-advancing Patriots of Francis Marion. Quick update from North Carolina. It's still 2-1. Lenore Ryan now in the top of the 5th against Wingate. If the Bears win that game, North Georgia will be the host of the 2024 NCAA Softball Southeast Super Regional, as the Bears would come here to Dahlonega. For Robert DiClemente, Bailey Vessel, Devin Kupka, I am Brendan Shabbat. Thank you so much, everyone who tuned in to the Nighthawk Sports Network. North Georgia back in the Super Regionals with a 5-0 win on a Game 6 and 7 sweep over Francis Marion here in Dahlonega in Southeast Region 2 tournament. We will see you all at some point next weekend for the Supers. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic